K-pop girl group ITZY released their 7th EP, Kill My Doubt, on July 31st, 2023. I'm Courdy Roy, and welcome to BlushCat, track by track. Howdy, Meowers. Welcome to the third BlushCat track by track. If you haven't checked out the other two track by tracks, I actually did IVE's first album and ZB1's first album. So if you are curious to hear my thoughts and opinions on those, you can go listen to those and find them in our track by track playlist. If you've already listened to those, thank you for joining me again for this track by track. Today, like I said, I'm talking about ITZY's newest album, Kill My Doubt. I'm just going to be sharing my opinions and thoughts on it, talk about lyrics a little bit, talk about the actual music and sound, and then at the end, I will be sharing my overall thoughts. Remember, with the track by tracks, the video version is available on YouTube, but the actual songs aren't going to be included, so you'll have to head over to ITZY's official YouTube channel to find the album playlist and stream the songs, or you can maybe use YouTube Music and they have all of the official tracks there. If you're listening on Spotify, the songs from the album will actually be included in the episodes before each section of my commentary. So we're going to start with track 1, Bet On Me. Okay, Bet On Me is definitely one of my top tracks on this album. I'm going to say that right away. I don't really like to, quickly declare favorites like that, but I knew, from the first listen, that this song was going to be one of my top ones from this album. I think it's really good. It has really good lyrics, a great beat. I think that everyone has really good parts, but I think that Yeji really fits this song well. I love that it starts with Ryujin's deep voice and that it starts pretty much right away, except for the beats that open it, which I really like. I love Yeji's note change in the last line and the way that it differs from all of the other choruses. I think that Yuna's rap is really catchy. I really like the background vocals that blend with the members' vocals, and it creates this harmony. I think it sounds really good. I think that all of the different elements work really well together, like the rap parts, the fast chorus, and then Lia and Taeryung's slower parts. I really like the build into the chorus. It's just overall really working together to create something that I'm really enjoying. Lia and Taeryung's parts where they say dreaming, they actually slow down a bit to have a dreamlike sort of hazy quality, and I actually really like that because it fits with the lyrics. The whole song is very internal, I think, but there's sort of an extra separation with those parts where it feels even more internalized and like a dream with the idea that they're creating in their head, and then they finally create a point that they want to achieve or a place that they want to reach, and they decide to go for it and try to reach it, and then it transitions into the chorus, which represents the chasing after that dream or the light that they imagined, and they're talking themselves up to encourage themselves to follow it. So I think it's really interesting how the actual sound for those parts changes and slows down and works well with the lyrics. To talk about some specific lyrics, I really like Yeji and Chaeryung's parts. Without the courage to fall, you will never fly. And also Ryujin's part, wanna win, then I gotta lose some days. I really like the message and how they contribute to what we're supposed to feel and think about this entire song. And those two lyrics are really standout parts to me. I think that the music video for this song is great as well, and it really illustrates the different changes in the song, like the slower parts that I talked about and then the fast chorus. They did a really good job with the music video. So it has the general idea that you're not always going to succeed, but you have to have the courage to get back up and try again and believe in yourself even if no one else will. I also like how they aren't like sugarcoating the idea that trying again after failing is easy. Like they're talking about how they hope the world is nice, but then they say even if it's not, it should at least be real. And they talk about how they do have fear and how it can be scary. Overall, it's very encouraging and inspiring, and it's up-tempo but relaxing and a little melancholy all at the same time. So there's a great balance with the different verses and the choruses, and I think that the vocals are really nice. I do think that this song could have been the title track if they wanted to try something with that vibe, but the actual title track is very on brand for ITZY, so it's okay, but I do just really wish that they performed and promoted this song more regularly though. They had the music video and they performed it at least on one like show that I did see, but I wish they would have given it the like proper promotion that I think it really deserves. So now I will go into track 2, which is the title track, Cake. This is a really great title track. I wasn't sure if I would enjoy it a whole lot from the teasers, but I trusted that I would enjoy it because usually I think that with most teasers, like I hear the album preview or something or like the music video teaser and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this one. But I think that then after, like I usually really do enjoy, like especially with ITZY, like I kind of hear it and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this one. But then I do, and that's the case with Cake. I think that it's fun, but lyrically, it's actually serving like another strong message, like Bet On Me. And Devin actually mentioned that in episode 19 of the BlushCat podcast, that many of the lyrics are like strong or they have a message, and they definitely do. And I really like that ITZY is trying something like that, but I do think that they generally have like a message that they're trying to get across with their songs. But this album, it feels a little bit different. I think that maybe this song could be annoying to some people, and like that the repetition of Cake could be bothersome because they do say it a lot and maybe there's too much going on for some people. But personally, I think that it's really fun and catchy and it sounds good. I don't have any problems with this song. I wasn't sure if I would like the sound of the music as well. Like I was worried that it might actually have too much of a country or like Western sound to it, but I don't really think that's the case. I think that the members' vocals stand out more than the music, and that makes me really enjoy it a lot. And, you know, like I like Not Shy, and that is actually that sort of like Western concept, and I don't have any problems with that song, so I think ITZY can make that style work well. Some of the lyrics, honestly, are maybe a little too much. Like Ryujin's rap at the beginning, I was a little like, okay, what? But, you know, then there was Yuna's whole busted up part, which I really thought wasn't going to be my style, like when I first heard the song and I saw the music video. But honestly, now it's so fun for me and like iconic, and I just want to sing and dance along to it, even though it is kind of like funny. But like I like that part now, and maybe it's random, but I really like the slide whistle sort of noises in the background. Maybe that sounds like maybe I'm calling it something that it's not, but to me it sounds like a slide whistle, and you can notice them easily at the beginning, but it happens frequently throughout the song. I just think it adds to the vibe of the song and sounds good. To talk about the lyrics, I really like Leah's part when she sings that it's all fine or it's all okay. I just really like the way that she sings it. It's kind of like very soft, and gentle and reassuring, which is very her style, which helps to break up and kind of balance out the fact that there's a lot going on, and the stronger rap parts that I mentioned, like with the lines earlier that I said maybe are a little too much, honestly. But so I like that part, and I also like the chorus part. Just eat it all up, yeah, like I really like the emphasis on Wang, and it just is very catchy, that part, and I think it's really good that they included that part because it's something that gets stuck in my head and is easy for me to remember and sing along to. And the last lyric from this song that I want to talk about is Chae-ryung's part, and this is kind of like a bigger part. So she says, "You can't make everyone happy. Show some respect. I do me, you do you, you and I, you're you and I'm me. Isn't that enough?" So with this line, I really specifically like the "isn't that enough" questioning part, because it's like, hey, come on now. Like, isn't that enough? That's good, right? That sort of thing. And it's kind of like telling people to just take a look at things and think for a minute. Can't we all just respect each other? It's really tying in the focus on yourself and live your life message that the song and the chorus overall have. So overall about this song, like I've been saying, I think it's really fun. It's good for summer, even though it doesn't really have summery lyrics. It gets stuck in my head easily, and I like the general message of it, and I like the members' parts. Cake also works well with their third track, which I'll move on to, and that is called None of My Business. Track 3, None of My Business, is another song with a message. It could work as a breakup song, but I think that it's also sort of like Cake telling people to mind their own business. Like, I'll focus on me, you focus on you. Don't try to interact with me anymore because I'm done. That sort of thing. So it also, like, it has stronger lyrics, but it's a very chill beat. I'd say it's sort of like a chill version of Cake. They reference heat a lot, like a hot summer, and it's interesting to me because the song is so relaxed, but lyrically it's strong, which has been the vibe of the album so far. The music and the way that the members deliver the lines also kind of make it seem like it's really hot and everyone is exhausted from the heat and you're just trying to cool off. But this idea also works if you apply it lyrically, because if you think that the person or the relationship that they're dealing with is exhausting and they're trying to cool down the attitudes and frustrations and try to mind their own business and put an end to things like they would try to put an end to the heat, which is interesting. I think that my favorite parts of the song are the rap parts, especially Ryujin and Yeji's rap parts. I like how they really deliver their lines with an attitude and put emphasis on certain words. And I want to say they almost sing in like a little bit of a drained tone in a way, which is adding to the whole hot summer sort of concept, exhausted, done with the situation, it's none of my business anymore. So I think everything's once again working really well together, and I'm getting the concept for sure. This song has a little bit of Billie vibes to me, especially Ryujin's tone during her raps. In the album documentary, Leah said that this is a song people can chill listening to and like hum along to, and I definitely agree. It's always getting stuck in my head and it's easy to remember. I will say that it's not my personal favorite vibe of song. It's just a little too like old school style chill for me, so it's not going to be one of my top tracks just based on the fact that it's not my favorite sound when you compare it to the other sounds that we're getting from this album. But there's nothing wrong with this song, like I don't have any problems with it. It's definitely catchy and it's nice to just have on in the background, and I also really like the choreography for this track. So I guess that's all that I have to say about it. So I'll go on to track 4, Bratty. Track 4 is called Bratty. The Korean title is 나쁜 애, which could translate literally to bad kid, which I suppose could just be someone that you would refer to as a brat. And they reference both the Korean and English title as lyrics in the song. I actually like when Yuna refers to the title in Korean because of the context, but also the natural inclusion of the title in the song. I thought that I wouldn't really like this one that much when I watched ITZY and Ryujin's dance medley teaser, like album spoiler, but I do really like this one. I don't think that I have much to say about the music itself because to me it's pretty simple and it kind of accompanies the lyrics instead of the lyrics accompanying the music, in my opinion. Like, I think that the feature point of this song is probably the message. There are some nice clap beats that give it a little bit of kick in the background that I really enjoy. The lyrics are still on theme with the album. Maybe you would think after, like, if you only hear the title, you might think that it would be used in reference to someone else, but it's actually the members referring to themselves, being like, sure, yeah, go ahead and call me Bratty. And this fits with the other songs, though, because they're like, yeah, sure, I'm Bratty, go ahead and keep talking about me, but I'll be minding my own business and just keep being me. I like the first verse lyrically because the message is once again strong and fitting thematically. It's basically a chill serve song because they're like, you can say what you want about me, but I know it's because you're jealous or hurting or trying to take me down, but I'll keep doing what I want and chasing my dream, which is very fitting, like I said, with the album. So the concept is still going strong. I think that that message could be applied to anyone, but for anyone in the public eye that has to deal with haters and rumors and that sort of thing, it fits especially well. I really find myself coming back to this track a lot, and I think a lot of it might have to do with those powerful clap drum sort of beats that I mentioned earlier. They just really make the song stand out to me, and I hope that people don't skim over this track because it is a good one, in my opinion. Now I'll move on to track 5, Psychic Lover. I love this one. I want to start by talking about some things that it reminds me of. So I'm going to start by saying that it reminds me of Idol, mostly their I Never Die album, like a mix of Never Stop Me and Villain Dies with the intro. It also reminds me in a nostalgic sort of way of, dare I say, Pristin, and it's almost a decom, but in like a good way. It also feels sort of Avril Lavigne and like nostalgic, like I said, but without sounding old or stale or like they're trying too hard to create a song that's reminiscent of that era. I just really love the vibe of this song. I think that ITZY pulls off this sound really well, and I feel like it's something that they haven't really tried very often. The choruses and the post-choruses are the strong points, in my opinion. I don't really have a lot to say, I guess, even though I really love it, but I do want to say that I really think that this track should have been or could have been the last track on the album. If we look at the lyrics, we're breaking out of the message that we've heard in the other songs on the album for something a little different, but I think it still fits well with the other songs because it's about reading people and observing the situation and deciding to take action. It's kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel and almost like what they were running towards in Bet On Me. They found something that they are so sure is a good connection that they have no doubt, which I know that they also reference doubt in Kill Shot, which I didn't talk about yet, but I mean, they say in Bet On Me, I'm trying to kill my doubt, which Kill My Doubt is the album title, And with Psychic Lover, it feels more like it's concluding the story or achieving what they were longing for at the beginning than Kill Shot. They talk about smiling and fireworks and being sure and feeling natural, which is something that seemed far away in Bet On Me. In Kill Shot, they obviously have more confidence, and so maybe that confidence came from this song. So I do understand lyrically why that's the last song. I just think that the sound and vibe of Psychic Lover overall fits so much better as an end than Kill Shot to my taste. It feels like once this song is over, it's like the end and I've kind of had like a happy conclusion, but then there's still one more song and it has this confident, powerful energy that I feel is so different from the energy of Psychic Lover. So probably this one and Bet On Me are my favorites, my top tracks from this album. I knew that I'd really like this one when I heard the album spoiler, and I think that ITZY hasn't really done this exact sort of sound before. Maybe some stuff is similar, but this has a little more edge, a little more nostalgia, a little more drama, and maybe a little more like rock inspiration. It reminds me in a vibe way of the feelings that Just Be's song Me has, and I've talked about like how good that song is before, so check that out if you're not familiar with it yet. I think that I would end up recommending this song, Psychic Lover, to someone who doesn't really even like K-pop. I think it just has a distinct style and something that is very fresh to ITZY, and it's a sound that I think anybody could enjoy. Now it's time for the last track, track 6, Kill Shot. I mentioned Kill Shot a little already when discussing the previous track, and I said it has more confidence and powerful energy, which does make it seem like we reached the end and that they have achieved something since the beginning of the album, lyrically. Even though I talked about how Psychic Lover should or could be the last song, I get how this one fits lyrically as the last song, but sound-wise, it honestly to me sounds like it could be the intro song. I thought this might be my favorite when I saw the dance preview album spoiler, but I actually do think that the other two that I mentioned are above this one for now, but I still enjoy this track. It reminds me a little of Monsta X Gambler, and I think the chorus kind of sounds like the pre-chorus of N-Bite Me. And the bridge definitely reminds me of Luna and Billy with like the giggles and the echoing, haunting sort of tone that they sing in. I love the heavy drum beats for the shot parts. It's got a futuristic techno sort of feel with the beats, which is cool. I think it's interesting how the transitions are so blended. Like suddenly it's the chorus and suddenly it's the bridge. There's not a whole lot of stop and go. The whispering is cool too. I think that there's a lot of extra elements like that, and the shots and the laughter added in, making this song stand out and hold its own rightful place. Overall, I really love this album. No skips. There are different styles of songs, and it seemed like they were trying new things. I'm glad that they had 3 videos and 3 songs they really were focusing on and highlighting, but I wish that they would have promoted more of the other songs as well. Maybe I didn't highlight many lyrics specifically, but that's probably because there were like too many sections where I thought there was a good line or message, so I would have ended up discussing too much of it. I really like that this album does tell a story and it does have a message in the songs, which ITZY does manage to do in a fun sort of way usually, but to me this album seems more like serious, but it isn't like super metaphorical or deep or anything like that. It's still easy to follow, which is still very fitting for ITZY. If I had to describe ITZY, I think that I would say that they're crisp. I just think that their sound and their style and their choreography is very clean and precise and balanced. When they debuted, I thought that they would have like too busy of a concept and that I just wouldn't vibe with it. And there's definitely a lot going on a lot of the time, but it really works, and to me it doesn't seem messy at all. I think they definitely managed to make it their own style, and they have a very distinct brand. I think all of the members have a role and that their tones are very distinct as well. I do think that Chaeryung's voice seems a different tone or like style. Maybe I'm just imagining that, or maybe she is singing in a little bit different of a way, or maybe these songs are suiting her voice differently, but I like it. I think that maybe they could have rearranged the order of the songs a little bit. I explained earlier why I think that Psychic Lover should be the last song, and maybe the order of the other songs could have been a little different as well. I think that maybe the problem is that lyrically, I understand what they were going for, with, the exception that I think that Psychic Lover could work where it is and as the last song. But sound-wise, they could have rearranged the order, because I don't really get the concluding vibes from Kill Shot based on the beats and the music. And like the intro vibes of Bet On Me are iffy. I think it could fit where it is, but I could also see it working somewhere else. But I do think that all of the songs fit as one album. I realized that most of the songs could fit in Idol's discography, which is cool because I really like both groups' music, and that's not really a connection that I thought of in the past. I'm glad that a lot of the songs have a message, and the title track does too, but they still stayed very on brand to ITZY. It reminds me overall of the Not Shy era. They're bringing back some of the same sort of sounds, and I think that is interesting because I didn't expect that kind of sound to return, but they are still trying new things. I talked a little bit about the album documentary, and that is something that they released on their YouTube channel, so I really recommend going and watching that if you're at all curious about the making of the album, or like behind the scenes sort of stuff from this album. And so seeing that album documentary was really interesting. I can definitely see and hear the efforts that the members went through to make this album. They really focused on emotion during recordings, and this feels like an elevated album from ITZY, where I definitely get more concept and emotion from the lyrics and from their voices. And I actually had already mentioned about how it seems like maybe Chaeryung is singing in a different tone, and they showed in the documentary the recording behind of Bet On Me, and that they actually changed the key and lowered it so that we could hear the members singing in more of their natural tones, which really seemed like a great move. I think a lot of the times when I watch behind content from a group for the making of an album or a song, and I hear the concept and ideas behind it and what their intention was when making it, I'm like, oh, that's not what I thought of at all, or I thought they were going for something completely different. But this time, after watching the album documentary and hearing the album, which I watched the documentary after listening to the album because I wanted to think about the songs myself first, I completely agree with the direction they went in and everything that the members were saying about the songs and the performances and everything that the people directing them were saying. Like, it's all something that I can understand at least where they're coming from. The concept is very easy to read, and I think that ITZY is aware of their strengths as individuals and as each other and as a group. So I really hope that people give attention to all of the tracks and don't skip over any of them and don't forget about any of them, because I think that they're all delivering something of value, and we can tell that this is an album with a lot of effort put into it. So if you enjoyed this track by track, you can go ahead and like the video on YouTube and comment your favorite track from ITZY's album. You can also please subscribe to the BlushCat channel and turn on notifications. You can follow BlushCat on Spotify, and also be sure to follow the podcast and our Spotify profile page where you can find K-pop playlists and save them to your library. Also, please follow Devin, BlushCat's other host, on all platforms at Devin Christie. Thank you for listening to this track by track. Stay meowing. This has been Courdy Roy.